Welcome back to the FreeCodeCamp podcast. I'm Quincy Larson, teacher and founder of freeCodeCamp.org. Each week, we're bringing you insight from developers, and this is a special week because we're hitting episode number 200. We've been doing this for 7 years. We finally hit episode number 200. Congratulations to all of you who've been tuning in over the past few years and who've been learning from these developers that I've been interviewing here. So I am thrilled to introduce today's guest. He is Kunal Kushwaha. He is a prolific software engineer and computer science teacher on YouTube. He has an interesting backstory in that he failed the JEE, the Indian entrance exam, twice, but he persevered. He did 4 years of university, but attended 0 lectures. Instead, he built his own learning path by contributing to open source projects like Kubernetes and using free learning resources, including FreeCodeCamp. Hyped to hear from him, but first, a little bit about the FreeCodeCamp community, what we've been up to. We've got a major announcement here. FreeCodeCamp's new responsive web design certification is now live. You can take the final exam and earn this free verified cert, then add it to your LinkedIn, CV, or personal website. This is the first of 6 certifications that make up FreeCodeCamp's certified full stack developer path. And this is version 10 of our core curriculum, the results of thousands of hours of work by teachers, developers, and open source contributors. This is our most comprehensive and rigorous curriculum so far, and it will teach you the fundamental skills you need to not only build websites, but mobile apps, APIs, and to leverage AI code generation tools with confidence. We'll steadily release the remaining certs over the coming weeks so that you'll be able to earn these certs as well. They are in order: JavaScript algorithms and data structures, Python programming, front-end libraries, relational databases, and back-end development. If you complete all these, you're going to be like super robust in your fundamentals. Each of these certs includes hundreds of hours of building guided projects, unguided projects where you just have a blank code editor and test suites. Then there's a lot of theory. There's a lot of quizzes to check your comprehension and to prepare you for the final exam. If you've previously worked through some of FreeCodeCamp's coursework, even if it was several years ago, you may already have completed several of the required projects to earn this first cert. So sign into FreeCodeCamp and check. I've got a full announcement article and FAQ in the description. Check it. Then I'm happy to announce that FreeCodeCamp just published another free handbook before modern large language models. Scientists and developers worked with more fundamental natural language processing tools. FreeCodeCamp just published a handbook that will help you understand the tools that power chatbots, machine translation, text summarization, and more. You'll learn how computers analyze syntax, model semantics, and interpret context. Then you'll use popular Python libraries like the NLTK to apply those concepts to real-world projects. That's the Natural Language Toolkit, if I recall correctly. It's a big Python library. Very cool handbook. Check it. Then you can also check out this free handbook that we published on advanced JavaScript. This handbook will give you a nuanced understanding of one of the trickier aspects of JavaScript development: closures. First, you'll learn about functions, parameters, and lexical scope. Then you'll learn how a closure closes over a variable and keeps it all safe and snug and warm while still granting you access to its values through function calls. If this sounds complicated, it is. But fear not, this handbook will give you tons of code examples of closure mechanics and teach you when to use them. Check out the link in the description. FreeCodeCamp also published a course on Flexbox. It's a powerful CSS feature that lets you build user interfaces that fit any screen size. If you've ever struggled to center something with CSS or tried to make columns line up nicely, well, Flexbox dramatically simplifies this. FreeCodeCamp just published a Flexbox for Beginners course where you'll learn both the concepts and the code syntax while building a responsive website navigation bar. It's a 2-hour course on the FreeCodeCamp YouTube channel, link in the description. Then, when you're working with large language models, every additional token adds cost and latency. The context gets out of control. Microsoft just open sourced a tool called LLM Lingua. Lingua, I think, is the Latin word for tongue, that will compress your prompts and other context window data. FreeCodeCamp published a tutorial to help you understand how this works and how you can add it to your Python projects. This is a quick 10-minute read. It's not a full-length handbook or full-length course. You can just take a look at this and see whether LLM Lingua is a useful tool to manage your context. I'm thrilled to announce that we have our 2025 top open source contributors. The announcement just went live. It's been a super productive year for the FreeCodeCamp global community. As we start year 12 as a community, we're firing on all cylinders, pushing forward more steadily than ever. Here's a full list of the 611 top contributors. Link is in the description, but congratulations to every one of you who is a top contributor. We're going to get those badges on your FreeCodeCamp profile, and we really appreciate your continued efforts. Thank you. The song of the week, 1983 anthem, Rock of Ages by British rock band Def Leppard. This is a silly, feel-good song with excellent vocal harmonies and massive sounding drums. As a kid, when I saw the music video on MTV, I was like 4 at the time or something like that. The singer was wielding this awesome giant sword in a cave, and it just totally blew my mind. I love this song. So check it out. Link in the description. Support for this podcast is provided by a grant from Algo Monster. Algo Monster is a platform that teaches data structures and algorithm patterns in a structured sequence so you can approach technical interview questions more systematically. Their curriculum covers patterns like sliding window, 2-pointers, graph search, and dynamic programming, helping you learn each pattern once and apply it to solve many of the problems that you'll face in interviews. Start a structured interview prep routine at algo.monster/freecodecamp. Support also comes from the 10,338 kind folks who donate to our charity each month. Join them and support our mission at donate.freecodecamp.org. You should also consider repping the FreeCodeCamp community with pride. Get your FreeCodeCamp shirt for $20 with free shipping anywhere in the U.S. Go to shop.freecodecamp.org. For today's interview, again, I'm talking with Kunal Kushwaha. He's a software engineer and prolific computer science teacher on YouTube. And he's going to talk about just a variety of different topics that are of interest to him. We had like a really natural, fluid conversation. It's really cool to learn about how he moved from Delhi to London on a UK global talent visa, how he works at Castai, and how he founded a community called WeMakeDevs. He's also going to talk about how he teaches himself new skills, then teaches those skills through his YouTube channel. You're going to learn a lot from this guy. His day-to-day working remotely at startups, his role in building out cloud regions as a field CTO for Civo, which is a big UK cloud native service provider. And we have a pretty extended discussion about the Indian higher education system. Kunal Kushwaha, welcome to the FreeCodeCamp podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you here. We're going to get way into your history as a developer, as a developer educator, but I am fascinated by this fact. You failed the university engineering entrance exam twice, the JEE, this famous test that everybody who wants to get into a prestigious engineering program in India has to take. You failed it twice. Take me back to that time when you failed it for the second time and how you were feeling.
Yeah, I think it was. I was obviously upset, and India has the top tier institutes like Indian Institute of Technology, National Institutes of Technology. So these are government funded, very prestigious, and they have good on-campus placements, meaning that you don't even have to apply anywhere else on any job portal or anything. Big tech companies from all over the world like Google, Microsoft, they would come to your campus and you get a private hiring. So as kids, we have always been like grown in a competitive environment. What you're going to do in your university, like if you want to be a doctor, you have to decide that when you're like 14 or 15 years of age. Because when you enter high school, you have to pick a career path. And let's say you want to be a doctor and you picked engineering in high school, there is no way you're getting into the top medical colleges in India. So it's like quite scary. You have to decide your main career path while you're a kid. Same thing for engineering. I think tech is a bit of a privilege because, I mean, we all know anyone can get into tech. You can just watch YouTube tutorials. Shout out to FreeCodeCamp. You can do a lot of blogs and you can do a lot of stuff. But I think speaking from an educational point of view, when people don't have much knowledge about the industry, they just know that I want to be an engineer or a doctor or whatever.
Or their
They look at
parents
you.
are telling them,
Yeah,
hey,
they just look at
safe
they,
career, become a doctor.
yeah, yeah, they just look at universities. So in India, if you want to go to an engineering college, and let's say you took finance in high school, even though you can self-study yourself and get in tech or do whatever, but there's no way you're getting into the top engineering colleges. Your chance is gone. So if you did not pick engineering in high school, you are done.
And that's because of the difficulty of the exam?
No, it's just it's just the eligibility criteria. You have to have engineering, physics, chemistry, maths in your high school if you want to even sit for the joint entrance examination, the JEE. Yeah, so that's
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when I went to university, I didn't even really know what my major was going to be until I was like halfway through the degree. So I was like 20, 21 years old before I
You
even...
have to decide that in high school, and that's why I think everyone wants to get into the best colleges, but it's so competitive. Like over 1 million people take part, and only they have like 500 seats for computer science, which is like 0.00, I don't even know, percentage. And they ask you like really comprehensive questions for physics, chemistry, maths. My maths was quite nice. Physics was all right. I hated chemistry. Just couldn't stand it.
Yeah, and I can tell you as a software engineer, I use chemistry 0 times.
Yeah, exactly.
It just never comes up.
Exactly, and that's why like I took a drop year. So I did nothing but the whole year I just studied for JEE, and then I gave it again, and obviously I failed it again. But that's how I want to use. I think I'm thinking if I want to use this term. I do want to use this term. I think that's how brainwashed the Indian community is. Because it's great if someone is teaching you how to clear JEE entrance examinations. There are a lot of coaching institutes and stuff. There are a lot of like online coaching institutes as well, billions and billions of worth of dollar industry. What is not cool if when they tell you that once you get into IIT, your life is sorted. And more dangerously, when they tell you, if you don't get into IIT, your life is ruined. That's literally what they tell you in the prep call. That's literally what they tell you when your parents take you to the coaching institute. They will tell you, please come to our institute because if your son or your daughter don't make it to IIT, their life is ruined. Right?
Yeah, so very dishonest marketing and high-pressure sales techniques that scare parents into paying them a bunch of money for the prep program.
It's definitely a sales tactic. And it's just funny because you are essentially saying that out of the 1 million students who gave that exam, let's say 1,000 of them got into IIT. So the rest are just done. They're just not going to make it in life. That's the end for them. It's so funny and sad. So that is why there's this fear. I have to score good in my high school. I have to get into IIT. I have to prepare for JEE. You wouldn't believe me. People in India start preparing for JEE when they are 12 years of age. The only routine the students have is study, go to school, which is like 8 hours, extra studies for 6 hours. They're studying for like 13 to 14 hours as a kid, 13-year-old kid. And they do that continuously for 4 years, non-stop.
That doesn't sound healthy because that period of your life is so important for discovery and people are just spending it studying.
Yeah. So I felt like a regret. My parents were also like, oh, you keep hanging out, you keep playing video games, you keep watching movies, you keep learning all these new things, you should study and get into IIT. Because obviously, my parents come from a small town. They didn't have much knowledge about how the tech industry works, how engineering works. They always hope for the best for me. And I respect that. So they always wanted me to, okay, you go to IIT, you will get a high paying job and stuff like that. Me being a kid, I couldn't do it. I couldn't see my childhood being wasted. I was a little uncare. I just didn't care that much. Even if I forced myself to study, I cannot sit and study for 14 hours straight. How are you doing that as a kid? I can't do it. So big respect for kids who are doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoyed my childhood. I loved my childhood. I did so many video games, movies, friends, trips, hanging out. You have one life, and I loved my childhood. I'm so glad I did not study hard for JEE. But at that moment, when I took a gap year, I was like, okay, maybe if I give it this 1 year, I would, make it. And then that year, I was studying quite hard. I wasn't going out much. this whole year was gone. I was just studying, didn't do much.
It sounds like a
Not
miserable year because you're like kind of
was
like
miserable.
regretting, like, oh, I had this great childhood, but now was that a mistake?
Yeah. So that's what I was doing, and then part of the reason is also like, I mean, everyone wants to make good money, be financially free, especially if you come from a poor background. Like, I come not from a very rich family. And part of the reason is like, again, brainwashing in terms of, like I said, these global companies come to these universities. In India, it's a big culture that you would literally see billboards of people. You will be driving on the highway and you will see a big billboard. This person from our university got a 1 CR package.
Okay.
This
And
person
explain what a CR is. So that's a numeric
So
value.
1 crore. Yeah.
Crore.
1 crore is like $120,000 or 100,000 pounds or whatever.
Okay.
Somewhere like that. Now that's a lot of money. Obviously, I'm not diminishing that. But if you're living in San Francisco, it's like decent. I mean, I know new grads who make 100K in San Francisco. For India, it's so crazy that these people would come on television, on the news. They would come in newspapers, and your parents are going to look at the newspaper. They're like, look, this kid is earning 1 crore or $100,000 in San Francisco. He went to IIT. You should get into IIT. You will also make 100K. What you don't realize is it's 100K in San Francisco. It's not like you're making 100K in India. So there's a lot of like misguidance in that sense. Like you will instantly, so if you're making like 1 crore in India, you're essentially like, you're going to be like, you're good for the rest of the, like you can just work for like 5 years and you're good.
Yeah. And that's because of the dramatic difference in purchasing power parity between living in downtown San Francisco, where like I couldn't afford to live there when I was in the Bay Area. I had to live in East Bay and commute, right? And pretty much like you have to be making serious money to live in the proper city and be able to like walk to work without having to take the BART or drive across the Bay Bridge, which is a nightmare. Versus living somewhere in India, like which could be, a relative, like a second or third tier city in terms of size, where the cost of living is dramatically different. Like software engineers in the U.S. make, I don't know, like 6-8 times what a software engineer in India would make. And the software engineers in India are doing okay, right? Because they can still pay for housing.
10 to 20 times easily.
Yeah. So of course, like this person who went to the U.S., who has like an H-1B visa or something like that, and is able to legally work in the U.S. and has a job at a software company where they're making $100,000 plus US dollars. I mean, that must sound like an insane amount of money. But then when you consider the purchasing power parity, like that person in the US, they're probably not necessarily even saving that much money for retirement at that level of wage because the cost of living.
Yeah, and that's how we were grown up. Like you want to be rich, you want to be a millionaire, you go to IIT and you will earn in crores and you will be set for life, and that's why it's a big race. We call it a rat race in India.
Yeah, we call that the rat race in the U.S. too. Although the rat race is just generally trying to climb like a corporate ladder or something like that. You don't hear that expression as much these days, but yeah. So the concept exists, and so what is happening is these prep programs that prep you to try to apply to IIT India Institute of Technology. It's basically kind of like the MIT of the U.S. Or of India, but it's like a whole chain. I think it's like 10 or more schools, but they're all very prestigious, very good engineering schools. But they are very selective, and so many people in India want to get these seats that it becomes extremely competitive, and thus most people who take the JEE fail the exam, and as a result, they have to figure out a plan B. So you are sitting in Delhi, where you grew up. You are trying to figure out what your plan B is.
Yep. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like in life, if whatever happens, it's just life. It's built off happy moments, sad moments. So when I was quite upset after failing JEE, I almost joined some private university. It's actually the same one that Satya Nadella went to. He's the CEO of Microsoft, and he didn't go to IIT. He went to Manipal, but obviously he did his master's in the US. So he had higher education as well, but he didn't come from IIT. So I think having examples like that boosted my morale a little bit. Like if this guy can become the CEO of Microsoft by going to, like a private uni, not going to IIT, then, I'm sure there are other people out there. So in life, like whenever I'm stuck somewhere, I look at where I want to be. what is it going to take me to achieve that? I'll write it on a pen and paper, like on a paper using pen. I break down like my goal. So for my goal was like 4 years of uni. This is what I want at the end of the 4th year. So I'll break that down into this is what I want to do every year. Then I'll break that down to this is what I want to do every semester. Then I'll break it down to this is what I want to do every month. Then I'll break it down to this is what I want to do every week, every day. So I had a plan like that laid out.
Wow. That's a really cool
draft
method
plan.
of planning. So,
Yeah,
it's all with pen and paper. That is important to you.
Yeah, I just like writing stuff down and crossing it off. It just feels cool. I use to-do list now, but I still do like pen and paper quite a lot. But that's what I did, and then I was like, I got into some decent uni, not the best one. It was just not many companies coming to the university, no facilities, the syllabus is outdated, no research facilities. It's not a good uni. But I wanted to get into a uni because I need that degree for legal purposes. It helps in visa and stuff. And I was like, okay, university is messed up, so I'm gonna have to study my own if I want to do stuff in tech. And that's what I started to do, made my 4-year plan, and everything worked out.
And a huge part of that 4-year plan was getting involved in open source. Can you talk about your first contributions to open source? Because a lot of people are probably daunted. And yet you were contributing to like Kubernetes and like major repos, Cloud Native Foundation, stuff like that, right?
I honestly really, don't have a golden path to share because it's just gonna be a waste of time. My one advice is just get started. Now that sounds bad. It's like, Kunal, you're not giving us any information. No, that literally is the information. I can go more deep into it. You are right. I think open source saved my career. I started contributing to Kubernetes when I was in my freshman year. So, I made like a 4-year plan. So I was like, okay, I need an internship at the end of my sophomore year. I need a full-time job before I graduate. And what do I need to do for that? What kind of person do I want to be? So I'm like, okay, I can become a mobile developer. I can become a blockchain developer. I can do AI and ML. I can become a cloud developer. I can do research. I can do full stack web development and whatnot. And then I'm just sitting there. I'm like, okay, so many paths, and I can only do like one stuff when I'm, doing a job. So what do I do? How do I figure it out? What I did was I just started playing around with everything. I was breaking stuff. I was just playing with it. And the most important thing, if you're not coming from a coding background, the most important thing is to get that feeling of being a developer. And don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about being an expert. Once you get that feeling, then you can branch out, you can dive deep, you can do whatever. The hardest programming language to learn is your first programming language. So people often ask me, which one should I start with? Doesn't matter. Pick whatever. Just make sure you're building something with it. Don't be stuck in tutorial hell. So that's what I did. Tried a lot of stuff. I realized and while doing that, I realized mobile development is not for me. I realized front end is not for me. I can't do front end. I realized maybe blockchain is not for me, So I narrowed it down to machine learning, AI, back-end development, so like system design, architecture and stuff. And that led me into cloud native as well. So I picked one language. I just picked Java. I just picked a random language to start with. And then I was just sitting and I was like, how do this is cool. I'm learning about algorithms, how Java works and object-oriented programming and whatnot. But where do I apply this? What do I do? And I went to this meetup and stuff. It was around open source, and that's where I learned about open source. Because my university did not have a coding culture. So I was looking on meetup.com and stuff, like, are there any groups around that are happening or something like college groups, or some big colleges have their own college fests and stuff. So you can go to IIT college fests and things like that. And I found out about open source from these networking events. And I was shocked. You can contribute. Like, what do you mean you can contribute to a project that is being used by people around the world and you don't even have to interview for it? You can just contribute today. And I just went into the Kubernetes repo. Some Red Hat guys were there. And I'm like, I have no idea what Kubernetes is. I'm 18 years old and I know Java. What do you recommend I do? They're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You learn Maven, you learn this and that. So communication plays a big role. I gave them enough information, like where I'm coming from. I asked the question in public forums, and a lot of people were happy to help out. So they were literally like, okay, clone this repo, run Maven, you can compile it. It was the Kubernetes Java client by Red Hat. And then I started adding examples, fixing documentation, and then I started adding new features and stuff. And then I got into Google Summer of Code for the same project. And then I became a mentor for that project. And then since then, my freshman year, I have not left open source. That was because that gave me everything. Gave me credibility. My resume was awesome. Met a lot of people, started giving talks, learned a lot of technical skills. I had my proof of work. I had everything that you need as a kid to get a job or an internship. So open source gave me everything: networking, personal branding, resume, skills, projects to showcase. Yeah.
Wow, so you're really like a walking example of what I always try to communicate to people, which is you need to build your skills, your network, and your reputation, and the best way to do that is through open source contribution. Like that's literally the life you lived. It's so amazing that you just went and you asked. You had the audacity to just ask, like, what should I do? How can I help? And then people pointed you to stuff, and then a lot of people, that's like another inflection point. Okay, I'm daunted. I'm gonna do this later, right? I'm gonna go work on something else. Like people always find easier work to do instead of the big ambiguous work. But you dove headlong into the ambiguous work. You started doing it, and you just went deeper and deeper.
That's the thing. I think that's what I did. I just started building stuff and contributing and just learning. I don't know everything. I did not know everything about Kubernetes, obviously. I mean, I still don't. Kubernetes is super complex. I'm always learning new things. The landscape keeps evolving. So I never really felt like I need to be an expert in order to build this project, or I need to finish this course before I start contributing or whatever. No, my main motive was I need to be out there building stuff. And I did that, and that helped.
Yeah, and during this time, you're still going to school.
Yeah,
Can you contrast what you're learning at your Indian University engineering school versus the things you're learning day to day, just working on open source?
Yeah.
And like how those complemented one another?
So Indian curriculum is quite outdated in most universities. I was studying computer science and engineering. I had no computer science and engineering subjects in my first year of university. I will repeat that. I was going to uni for 4 years. The first whole year, there was no computer science, and my major was computer science and engineering. I wasn't even doing a minor. You know what I was doing? The curriculum was industrial equipments. They were teaching us how to cut machinery. They were teaching us how to cut wires, how to bend elastic metal sheets, how to do the welding, and things like that.
You learned welding in school?
I am enrolled in a computer science and engineering course. That's the only course that I'm enrolled in. Be mindful of that. No specialization in anything else. That's my only course. And the thing that you're teaching me in first year of university is how to weld two metal joints together.
I mean, that seems like something more that like a computer engineering student might study, but that like computer science is supposed to be a bunch of math, basically, right?
Yeah, it's just like, it wasn't even like circuits or anything. It was just like and they were teaching us like plants and whatnot and chemistry. I thought I was giving up chemistry after high school, but they were teaching me chemistry, and I am enrolled in computer science and engineering. Mathematics, I understand. Physics, I can argue. I can argue for physics, but why are you teaching me chemistry? I don't want to learn chemistry if I'm a CS grad, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like super fed up, and I just gave up. I'm like, this is not going to work. I'm not going to go to uni. From that day onwards, I stopped attending lectures, and I did not take any lectures for the 4 years of my uni life.
You didn't
Zero.
take any lectures?
None.
But you did keep going. Like, did you pass the exams to progress through? You have a degree, right?
I have a degree.
But you just completely quit going to class.
I got 8.
How is that legal? How did they let you do that?
I got like 8.8 CGPA out of 10. So that was quite good.
That seems pretty good for somebody who didn't attend a single lecture.
Yeah, and I graduated like A class. It's like grade A division. So I was like up there. My motivation was simple. I went to my counselor and I'm like, I have 4 years to make my life. I cannot come sit in, because in Indian universities, there's no learning happening. So I'll give you an example. I was sitting in a computer science algorithms class. I was doing algorithms on my laptop. The teacher was teaching binary search. I know binary search. So I was just doing algorithms and stuff. I wasn't wasting time on my laptop. It is like considered taboo to use your laptop in a computer science class, doing computer science work relevant to that particular subject. Teacher is teaching binary search. I know binary search. I'm learning about other stuff and algorithms, and the teacher is like, no, Kunal, pay attention to the board.
So it's just kind of like disrespectful to the instructor. Like, why are you even here if you don't want to hear what I have to say?
Exactly. But that's the thing. They are expecting me. I totally get that. But think from my point of view. You expect me to close everything. You expect me to sit in that was a 2-hour lecture on binary search. That is 2 hours just gone from my day. I can't do that. I respect you as a teacher, but this is like do or die for me. I have to make my career. I cannot sit in a lecture of binary search for 2 hours. There's no way I'm doing this every day, 5 days a week.
So you just took things into your own hands and you stopped attending lectures completely.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with that time that you would have spent studying lectures?
Yeah, I studied at home.
What were you studying?
I started with Java, the data structures algorithm, machine learning. I learned about React, Node.js, build stuff, started building websites, just having fun. And then I got involved in Kubernetes in my freshman year. So I went to my counselor and I was like, and then I got into Google Summer of Code, which is like a really nice program. Went to my counselor, I'm like, ma'am, respectfully, I have a lot on my plate. I'm also teaching at boot camps. So I'm not wasting time at home. I'm only doing good things. I gotten selected in Google Summer of Code. I have a scholarship from Linux Foundation where I'm going to go to San Diego. And my head of department was like,
that's cool.
My head of department was like, you're not going to San Diego. You have to stay here and attend lectures. You know what I did?
Really? She was trying to reel you in when you got that. It's hard to get that. It's hard to get Google Summer Code. It's hard to get a Linux Foundation grant.
And I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. Goodbye. I'm out of here. I didn't say it to her face, obviously. I didn't want to be rude. In my university, everyone who is watching, even if you disagree with your teachers, you always be respectful. You know, they're your elders and they're teaching you. I mean, they have more experience or whatever. Even with my parents, if I disagree with something, I will always be respectful. And I'll always be like, take the high road and say, I apologize, sorry, whatever, even if it's not my fault. Just take the high road, don't argue with them until unless it's getting toxic. You know, if they're toxic, then you stand up for yourself. But that's my belief. Like, I know everyone is different.
Well, and I mean, there's that Robert Downey Jr. quote. He said, smile, nod, then do whatever you want to do anyway.
Oh, exactly. That's what I did. So I went to my HOD and she's like, you're not going to San Diego. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I understand. I'm going to prepare hard for my exams. I'm going to score well. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Left her office, booked my flights. I'm in San Diego. met a lot of people. Scored well in my exams as well. And my head of department was, not head of department, my counselor was really nice. So I went to the counselor and I was like, ma'am, I'm not going to come to college. There's no way I can do it. It's a 1.5 hour journey one way.
And wow. So this is a substantial commute. And I've heard like legendary commutes around Delhi because the traffic's really bad.
And
how were you getting there? Were you taking a train?
Train and then tuk-tuk. So it was quite
okay, 3 hours. Tuk-tuk is like a rickshaw. Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, ma'am, I'm not wasting my time. I'm going to do great things and your college it's only going to be more better for the college. Like our students are doing great things. So they actually called up my parents and they talked to my dad. Your kid is not coming to lectures and classes. My dad is like, by that time, my dad knew that I'm on to something. Because I started like freelancing and stuff as well. So I was bringing in money as well into the home. So my dad was like, okay, he's doing something. So my dad tells the counselor like, it's thank you to you that you give him such freedom that he can, work hard and do all these things. And if the college did not give that much freedom, then he wouldn't be able to. Like imagine me sitting 8 hours in lectures, I wouldn't have been able to focus. It would have taken so much out of my mental tone, physical health. And then the other thing is I was not failing my classes and exams. My friends they were failing their exams. Me not attending lectures, I was getting like grade A's and Yeah.
So you were learning more about other things, but you were also learning more
I
about
knew
the actual
so
subject matter that
so
was
so
taught. So you were able
so
to
the
pass
subjects,
anyway.
yeah. So the subjects that my curriculum was teaching in the 4th year, I was done and dusted by it in my freshman year.
Okay.
They were teaching operating systems in like the 3rd year. I learned about operating systems and system design when I was in my freshman year.
Yeah, well, the reason they were teaching in the 3rd year was they were teaching
Yeah.
welding in the 1st year, I
Yeah.
guess.
They were teaching data structures in the 3rd year. I was teaching data structures to the world when I was in 2nd year.
Yes, and that's
You
what I
know?
want to talk about. So at some point while you're going to school, I know you got hooked up with this company, Civo, which is a major telecom, or I'm sorry, it's an infrastructure company based out of the UK. And you were also, I think, around the pandemic. Like, just to put things in perspective, you only graduated 3 years ago. Like you've had this really storied career, and it's only 3 years long. But a lot of that is because you were able to start your career while you were still in university, when everybody else was attending the welding lectures. And can you talk about like that opportunity, and also how you started publishing these videos on YouTube, millions of views on some of your data structure and algorithm explanations?
I think like before I started teaching online, I was teaching in local boot camps because I don't come from a wealthy family. I needed money to buy laptops and just pocket money and whatnot for traveling and stuff. My parents have supported me a lot, but obviously like if you're not coming from a rich background, money always helps. So I started teaching at local programming boot camps in my freshman year itself. So I was studying and I was teaching people in person. So I was teaching machine learning and data structures. When I was teaching them in person, that's when it hit me that I love teaching. And people started giving me great feedback. They were like, dude, you are awesome. When people had doubts, they would come to me. They were like, no, we want Kunal to answer. And I was like, okay, sure. And then COVID came, and then I started teaching online on YouTube because I felt like at that point, because I had already taught on in local boot camps, I knew that I like teaching, and that's why I started doing it online. And there are, I mentioned there's a big coaching institute for joint entrance examinations, JEE. There's like big coaching institutes for coding universities as well, so like coding boot camps, but they're quite expensive. And I wanted to do it for free on YouTube. So I did that for my data structures bootcamp. And then because I was providing better quality, that I was providing, well, I don't want to say was, I still am. Like my data structures and algorithms course is, I don't want to sound arrogant. It's like, all I know is that if you do that, you're good for your interviews. You're good. Don't
That's
worry
great.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
my
I've
guarantee.
added a link
Yeah.
to the description for anybody who wants to check out some of those videos.
Yeah.
So you started
But no,
recording these.
people resonated. Yeah, no, people resonated with it. It helped them. And they were like, dude, this is so good for free. Like like even paid courses are not that good. And I think that's why my YouTube just blew up, because I was providing that quality of education for free. And that's why, like freeCodeCamp is quite popular as well. I mean, incredible courses for free. People appreciate it. So word of mouth, I think, works very well. That's what happened with me. That's what happened with freeCodeCamp. I got 0 to 100K subscribers in 3 months.
That's very fast.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your process of deciding to move to the UK. You were able to get a UK Global Talent Visa, which is not easy to get, but essentially allows you to live in London and work. Can you talk about that process and why? What was the inspiration to move to the UK?
Yeah, I joined Civo when I was in my sophomore year. And then I essentially had a job offer from them. They're like, when you graduate, you can work with us full time. And I was like, yeah, cool. Love the team. Shout out to Mark Boost, who is the CEO. And he sort of like mentored me as well in the business side of things. So I was still am a big part of Civo. I left like 2 months ago because I was there for 5 years, and it's been a
And the
quite
work
journey,
you were
but
doing, you rose all the way to field CTO,
Yep.
overseeing the build out and maintenance of these data
The whole
centers
thing, like
for
data
cloud
centers,
infrastructure.
pushing into new countries like India, shipping server racks from London to India, building data centers, ordering these equipments, go to market plan, launch partners, sales, marketing, engineering, everything.
That's an incredible amount of responsibility for somebody who is like a year or two out of
And that's
university.
why I give a lot of credit. I give a lot of like owe a lot to Civo and Mark, who's the CEO, because not a lot of companies would give you that responsibility. So he saw something in me and he was like, yeah, you can lead this project, start our data center in India, for example. And I was able to do that. The region went live this year, earlier. And then it's all about the company as well. So the company rewards their employees. Civo does that very well. And they provide like a lot of nice platform and opportunities. So I'm very fortunate to have worked there for 5 years. I'm still a part of the team. I love the team. Every single one of them is my friend. I was at Civo Navigate, which is the flagship conference in India, actually last month, very recently. So I moved to UK, like I said, on a global talent visa. At first, it was a skilled worker visa, like Civo invited me. And then I realized there was a global talent visa thing, and people kept pinging me like, Kunal, you should apply, you will get it. So there's this company called Immigram. They help in like these immigration queries. I have a friend who works there, and she was like, Kunal, you should get global talent visa. So she helped me with my application and stuff, and I applied, and I got it in like a day. And now I'm not on a visa. Now I'm a UK resident. So I'm a permanent resident. I don't need a visa anymore.
Very cool.
So I got it in 3 years, the residency. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what the cultural differences between living in India and in Delhi and living in London, two very large cities, but in different continents.
Yeah. I'm a city boy. I love cities. I love being busy and the rush. I think we were talking about IITs earlier. It's just really funny because it's ironic. IITs are the ones that are picky when they pick students. The IIT students, or the as we like to call them IITians, they are picky whether they want to live in India or not. A very high chunk of IITians move abroad. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, he's IITian. CEO of all the top tech companies. Most tech companies are IITians. Having said that, I mean, it's great. You don't have to be an IITian to become a CEO of a big tech company. Satya Nadella from Microsoft is a good example. Which is a little sad, I think, but I also understand. It's just a question of why. Why are people not staying in India? Why are the brightest minds fleeing the country? I would not say anything political because I'm a guy who's based on like factual data. I never say anything political. I always talk facts. Nothing political, no conspiracies, controversies or whatever.
But
me,
yeah,
yeah.
Just to acknowledge,
For me,
like there aren't Indian equivalents of Google and Microsoft.
that too.
Generally, there are
People
consulting companies that are quite large,
see all these,
like Infosys and Wipro
exactly.
and stuff.
But there's like one or two. Yeah, maybe a few, maybe 10. Take a look at US, for example. There are thousands of companies registered every day. YC funding so many companies, so many immigrants in US. I know people who live in India and their company is registered in Delaware. They live in India, then they get company registered in Delaware, get the VC funding and whatever, and then they just move abroad on the O visa or something like that. So you're absolutely right. No big, maybe there's Zoho, but India is not competing in the hardware space. India is not competing in the AI space. Now, I'm not diminishing anything. I'm just stating the facts. I think when you want to improve, the very first thing you have to do is acknowledge the facts. So what can the government do? What can the finance people do? What can the VCs do in India to make that thing happen? Because right now, everyone is fleeing out. For me personally, a lot of reasons. The first one being I was at Civo. Even though I work remotely, the founders are here, the team is here. So I liked being with them in person, even though I work remotely. Even at my current company, Castai, my manager lives very close by in London. So I can just meet her. I like that, in-person brainstorming sessions. So even though I like working remotely, it's nice to have that freedom to sometimes meet the team in person. Second, I travel a lot for work. So traveling from India to US every time is hectic. So I live in London, and it's good connectivity if I want to go to Asia or if I want to work with cross time zone teams. That was not a big issue. I think that's more of like a good to have. The one main reason why I moved out of India is I can deal with high taxes, it's fine. India has really high taxes and you don't get much from it. So the roads are bad, the infrastructure is not there. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying anything controversial. It's just a fact. You can go look at it yourself.
Yeah, like famous traffic in major
Bangalore
Indian
traffic
cities.
and stuff like that. The number one reason why I moved out of India was the air quality. India is now officially the most polluted country in the world. If you are living in India, big cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and I'm a city guy, I need to live in a city. I will always live in a city. I love cities. I can't live in suburbs. So my options in India were quite limited. Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai. These are the main cities in India. If I'm living in these cities in India, I can easily wipe off 10 years from my life.
Wow,
The
it's
air,
that bad. The particles in the air, they just...
I was in Delhi last month. I landed in Delhi. I got a throat infection. I could smell the pollution. My eyes went red. I could feel it in my chest. And it was just so bad. I was able to notice it now because I have lived in clean air for 3 years. Now, after living in clean air for 3 years, when I went back to Delhi, I could feel it. But when people who grow up in Delhi, they're accustomed to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So a smoker, for example, if someone who's a smoker, they will just get a cigarette, start smoking. We have all seen that, right? Someone who is not a smoker, you hand them a cigarette and you say, please smoke this cigarette. They're going to be like, definitely they're going to cough.
Yeah.
It's the first time you're smoking a cigarette. So people who already live in Delhi, they are used to it. The pollution is in their body, it's in their bloodstream, it's in their lungs. They are used to it. They're not going to feel it as much. If you go to Delhi right now is crazy. The AQI scale in Delhi right now has broken. It's crazy.
Air quality index?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to Delhi right now, you would take the next flight back. You cannot survive in Delhi, Quincy. I'm not kidding.
Okay. Well, I will say that Los Angeles had famous pollution for a long time. They fixed it. Many Chinese cities were, had AQI very high.
So
and now
Beijing
they're much better.
So Beijing did it very well. Their annual average AQI is now around 20s. The only reason I left India is because, honestly, I don't think that the Indian air quality is going to get any better based on the scientific and geopolitical evidence in the next 10 years.
Okay.
China's, the Beijing area or Shanghai is like the same sort of like geographical challenges as Delhi has. There are the Himalayas in the background. Delhi has the Aravalli Hills here. The wind flows from Pakistan, and then it's like a little dug, thing.
Yeah, it's a kind of a valley between mountains, and then air gets trapped over there. And
so what happens? What happens in the winters is that the ground is cool, then the air is warm. So in the summers, the air just rises up, the pollution rises up. In the winters, the ground is cool, the air is warm, and then the air above that is cool. So that little smog is stuck with you in the 100 meters, and that's what you see. You literally cannot even see the buildings. So the reason I went to India was for my health. My parents have moved out of Delhi as well to a more quieter place. And for me, it was like, I have to get out of Delhi. Where do I go? Can't go to Mumbai. AQI is terrible. Can't go to Bangalore. AQI is terrible. Can't go to Hyderabad, Chennai or whatever. And then I just okay, London makes sense because lovely city, lovely culture, diverse. Civo team is there. And they are very welcoming to skilled immigrants. And now I'm a permanent resident. And
that's great.
If by any magic, I hope so. I mean, it took China 5 years and they had to declare a war on pollution. And the government right now is not doing anything. So if the government decides to do something today, it's going to take them at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I moved out.
So do you hope, like, if they fix the AQI issue, do you hope to eventually move back?
I mean, I have family there, so I'm going to spend some time there. But there's a lot more other things that I don't want to get in. I can get into, but it's going to
We
get.
don't have to drag everything out here.
No. It can. So I'll say it in a non-political way. I will never move my business to India. I know people are investing a lot and stuff. It's just, I have done it twice. I did it for big enterprises, like I did it for Civo as well, in Civo in India. And Civo in India is doing great, but I know how I managed it. I know the kind of people I had to speak with. I know the kind of permits I have to get. Running a business in India, sure, good luck, go for it. I'm not judging anyone. India obviously is the growing GDP, growing market, everyone is investing. The reason people are also investing in India is because India has a lot of users, so it makes sense for them.
Absolutely. Second most common people to use freecodecamp behind the United States is India.
Exactly. So that's why people are investing, and that makes sense. A lot of my customers are in India, and I agree that. From an individual level, I don't see myself moving my personal businesses to India because it's just a big headache. I'm the kind of person who doesn't like stress in his life. So my businesses are always going to be in UK and US.
Yeah.
But I'm also the kind of person who's always like never say never. Never say never. But right now it's just the whole administration stuff for India is just it's a headache. I can't deal with it. It's just so bad. Having said that, I mean, India has a lot of big enterprises running and customers. We have a lot of customers in India we support. I mean, we operate in India as well. This is like not tied to my employer, not tied to my previous employers. It's like for the stuff I do, like WeMakeDevs and stuff, and my own YouTube or whatever, and anything else that I do or will do in the future. Yeah.
It's going to be like a UK business instead of an Indian business.
Definitely. It took me 5 seconds to register a company. Takes me 3 seconds to do my VAT. My taxes are simple. When you're living in India and you want to spend money abroad, you cannot spend more than $10,000. Sorry, 10,000 pounds. So if you spend more than 10 lakh rupees abroad, you technically can, but then the government charges you 20% on top of that. And that 20, so if you're buying like a nice, if you're already spent, let's say $15,000, if you've spent $15,000 on your card abroad from India, if you want to spend more than that, the government is going to charge you a 20% tariff. And you get that 20% back after 1 year, and that also takes some delays. You have to fill some forms and stuff. The banking system is just crazy. I can't deal with it.
Okay. Well, this is not the India podcast. Although, if let's say hypothetically, some Indians listening to this did want to consider like moving abroad, or they were just more interested in how they could get involved in maybe fixing some of these things, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be very patriotic because the country doesn't give you much, and you have to push through that. So if you want to work at government research institutes, a lot of Indians work at NASA. A lot of IITians just go to NASA. Why are they not going to ISRO? ISRO is the Indian Space Research Organization. I think that's correct. The reason is they can't afford to pay NASA salaries. So you have to be patriotic. If you want to make changes, you have to sacrifice, and you have to be patriotic and live in India, stay in the bad air quality, and fix the system from the inside. Maybe join the government and be the change.
Yeah.
But then if you have to join the government, you have to work a lot, give a lot of. The other examination is this is much more difficult than the JEE.
Really? Is the civil service exam to get into the government?
That's the one. That one's crazy.
So China has a history of civil service exams, and I learned a lot about that.
India one is crazy. Yeah,
Okay.
Millions of people sit for it. They can select like 10 people.
And so these are high prestige but low pay jobs.
No. They're high paying jobs. They pay low.
Okay.
They're paying low, but you get everything. You get a full bungalow house. You get people taking care of you. You get free everything, free education, free pension. So all the money that you're earning from your salary, you're not spending anything.
So you're able to just basically save all that money and then live off of expenses.
Yeah. You get private security, free flights, everything.
Private security?
Yeah, you get everything. Yeah, you get private security. You're living in a mansion. You get the mansion for free.
Wow.
So if
Sounds like a
so,
lot of the
yeah,
VAT, the value added taxes, are going to
yeah,
pay
yeah.
for
So I
security
would say,
detail on political
yeah,
people or on civil
yeah,
servants, right?
yeah. And the other thing is, it may seem like I've exaggerated. It's just in comparison with other countries, India is a little behind. I wouldn't discourage you to do your startups in India. I would say go to Bangalore, meet startup founders there, see how they're working, and see how they navigate these administrative challenges and stuff like that. Um, so if your business is mainly based in India, your customers, your consumers, your main ICPs in India, it makes sense to go to Bangalore. So I would say go to Bangalore. Yeah. But if you want to move to abroad, yeah, I can talk about that as well.
Well, what I really want to talk about is what you do to continue to expand your skills. So you've worked as a field CTO, you've got a new job, you've taught many people programming through your YouTube channel, through your own website that has lots of additional resources, which I am also going to link in the description. Everybody check it out. But Kunal, what I really want to hear about is your information diet and your continuing self-education. You sounds like you are a master of teaching yourself, and you hone that skill even as a fresher. I think as they call them in India, like somebody who's like new to university the first year. You immediately started building up that kind of self pedagogy, essentially just like figuring out ways, tactics to learn new things, figuring out how to grok the vastness of the Kubernetes open source code base and figure out a place where you can actually improve it. Those
Yeah.
kinds of things. What do you do day to day to learn, and what is your information diet like?
Yeah, it's quite important to be focused here because you can always get lost in, the hypes and stuff, and there's so many things happening in the world. For me, it's always been simple. Like um, I love building things and I like breaking things and I like playing around with stuff. So when I was in uni, my main motive when I'm learning something new is how can this help me, at least for now. Now it's like, because I work in enterprises, I work at big companies now. So it's like, what am I already doing? And this new tool or whatever is out there, how can it help me? I'm a very business minded guy now as well. So I'm thinking like, how can companies utilize this technology for businesses, your business use cases? A good example is like MCP came out and I'm like, okay, how will people utilize it? What kind of companies will come out of it? What kind of users, how are you going to use it and stuff like that? So I always look at the big picture. I look at the tech later. I look at the big picture and the messaging and the resonation, like who resonates with this? Can I already use it? So I don't resonate with blockchain. I don't resonate with crypto. I'm not saying that, by the way, no hate to blockchain people at all. Allow me to make myself more clear. What I meant to say is that I never got into blockchain. Okay,
Right. It was
I
just
would
it was
love to.
never something that
Yeah,
appealed to you personally.
yeah. Not that it's never got time. I mean, I was just it's kind of like mobile development. Never got into mobile development. I just felt like, okay, I'm already busy with all these things. I've tried it. I've tried blockchain as well. So there's this thing called pie-shaped learning. Know everything about something, something about everything. Um, for me, it's always been like the why of things and what can I do? Can I utilize it in my current stack or something like that? So if you ask me, Kunal, what's new in blockchain? I have no idea. I don't know because I can't utilize it in my current stack because I don't work in blockchain. But I can tell you a little bit about what blockchain is and how it works.
So you
But
learn a little bit about everything, even if you don't
and then
particularly go deep into that. You
yeah,
said pie-shaped,
exactly,
often called
pie-shaped learning.
T-shaped here in the States, like the letter
Yeah, yeah,
T, a horizontal line,
T-shaped,
and
pie-shaped.
shallow with everything, but then deep with like one thing.
I call it pie-shaped because for me it's like cloud and AI and ML.
Okay, so it's like
Yeah.
the Greek letter pi. It's got two lines going down instead of just
Yeah.
one with the T.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's why I call it pie-shaped learning. I did deep dive in system architects, back-end design and stuff like that. But I don't want to be, so if I meet someone from blockchain, I have good conversations with them because I have a little bit of an understanding. And I love meeting people who know more than me because I learn a lot from them. So I'm a good listener and I ask nice questions and I think I get a lot of value from that. But for me to learn is just like I look at the bigger picture. I look at the business aspects of it and like how people are going to use it. I implement it. I try to go to YouTube or some place where I can find talks of people presenting that technology at conferences. and I read up on blogs and stuff. I wouldn't say it's kind of quite ironic. I don't really watch YouTube tutorials. It's quite ironic because I used to when I was a kid. Now it's more like I skim through it, if that makes sense. So it's more like
do you spend a lot more time reading than watching?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, me too. I spend a lot of time reading because reading's
If
faster.
I'm watching, yeah,
and
exactly.
you can jump around a lot easier in a
Exactly.
textual document. A lot of people are lamenting, oh, the internet's all about video now, and where's all the text? But like,
no.
a lot of people are still looking at the text. There's the same people that were looking at the text 20 years ago. They're still really into text.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's, I completely agree. It's much faster. And sometimes when I do watch YouTube videos, they're very niche topics, very niche topics. I do like sometimes people give their own takes in YouTube videos. So like this one, for example, we are giving our takes and stuff like that.
Right.
Those kind of videos I love.
Yeah, and a lot of this is like listening. Like I'll listen to videos like this, but I won't generally sit there and watch the two people's faces for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm very proud. One of the very few things I splurge on is I do have YouTube Premium, and I can lock my phone and put it in. There's no ads, and I can just listen to it while I do the dishes.
Yeah, some people do that. Like they like watching the whole podcast and stuff like that. But for me to learn, it's mainly about who can use it, why would I use it, how does it work. One of the ways that I escape the hype cycle is focus on the basics. Whenever there's something that is hyped up in the social media industry or whatever, I'll ask one question: what is the basic technology? Like serverless, for example. Serverless is great, but it's not serverless. There are servers running. You're just not managing it. So it's a good fancy
one
term.
One of the all-time kind of
clickbait.
Bad names for a technology, but
it's like clickbait. So that's what I focus on. I will look at the basics, and then I will just build something and just implement it. It's really good if I can just implement it with what I'm already doing, and then I just play around with it, and that's it. If I find it useful, I'll go deep dive. If not, then I know of it. Yeah.
So I'm kind of envisioning you like sitting at your desk, like jumping around, reading through text, skimming through things, looking things up a lot, probably having a lot of just-in-time research, and then looking for simple kind of proof of concept ways you can grab a technology, fold it into whatever you're building already, and then learn just in time by doing, and then see whether you're genuinely interested in going deeper. One of the things you said that I thought was really profoundly interesting is don't try to have a deep understanding in anything until you've established whether you actually even care about that thing, because it's just not worth the time to do a deep dive in a lot of things that like you mentioned blockchain, right? Like you can still talk to people about it. You understand the fundamental primitives of, smart contracts and things like that, but you haven't invested a tremendous amount of time and energy in getting good at it because it's just not that interesting to you.
You can always do it if you're interested. Who's stopping you? If it doesn't feel like work to me, it just feels like research and fun. The reason I say that is because you have so little time when you're a student. The most important thing is just get your foot in the door. No one expects you to be an expert. But if you have extra time and you want to explore more, go for it. That's what I did with AI and ML and cloud.
Yeah. Well, I want to see what you would do if you could send advice back to yourself right after you failed the JEE for the second time. You have no idea what's coming. This is I view this as a very important inflection point because this is where the Kunal we all know was forged. Had you just gone to IIT,
I would be working at Google or something then.
Yeah.
That wouldn't
Which
be
is
nice.
a great fate, but it's not the fate that you ultimately chose, where you've helped teach millions of people and that you're getting to do exciting work that is very novel and different from what a typical Google software engineer would do. What advice would you send back to yourself at that moment?
I think everything worked out well. I wouldn't change anything. I think it was I owe everything to open source, so I would just keep doing that. I don't think I made any sort of big mistakes in my uni because I was just only thing I was doing is having fun, building stuff, talking to people. I didn't do anything else. That's what I was doing. I literally didn't do anything else, and that helped. I built my profile and talked to people, learned a lot of stuff, had fun. The only advice I would give to myself is focus on your routine, because I was I was working late at nights. I was not working in the morning. I think now this is a personal preference, like no hate to everyone and no like hate to anyone who works late at night. I think for me, it's better to work in the morning. I would have given that advice to my younger self. Work in the morning, go to bed at a nice time. Don't hustle late at night. Work in the morning, go to bed on the nice time. And that's the advice I would have given. Rest, everything worked out. I think open source and just talking to people, speaking at events, teaching on YouTube, teaching in person, working at Civo. It was all great. Had a very good university life. Maybe other thing would be meet new people, meet more people. I know like 2 people from uni.
But you did meet a lot of people in the open source space, right?
That I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it sounds like just getting your routine solid, figuring those things out. A lot of people may feel pressure to like stay up late and grind
That's
and stuff
what they
like
do.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not necessarily productive.
Yeah, it looks productive. It's just so bad for your health. It may look productive, but literally like your willpower is not will on call, meaning you cannot collect your willpower and put it to a task manually. You can't do that. Your willpower is not will at call. And research has shown that your willpower is highest in the morning and it dials down when you're late at night. For some people, it may not work, but to them, I say that if you feel like you're more productive in the night, I would say once you become a morning person, you're going to be more productive than you were at night. You know?
Okay. So that's
definitely
heartening.
it takes some time, but I feel like being a morning person is just such a great thing to do. There's this guy, Brian Johnson, Don't Die guy. He
Yeah.
talks a lot about sleep and your rhythm and your how your brain basically functions if you are working late at night, body posture and things like that. So he's spending $2 million a year. He definitely does a lot of research, more than anyone in this world, on health. So you should, I mean, if he has some metrics and data to showcase, we should definitely take a look. And I've felt it personally as well, like working at night, no, I would work in the morning. 5 a.m. wake up, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. I would start working or something. So that's, I mean, that personal preference. It's a personal preference.
Okay. So
yeah.
essentially
That's what I
going to
would
sleep
tell
earlier,
yeah.
waking up earlier, and just because of the natural cycle of, the sun's up. I mean, like evolutionarily, it makes sense that humans would get most of the labor done early in the day. And then when it starts to get dark, they would go relax. Right. And
That's the
I do
advice
know
I would
lots of devs that are very productive that work at night.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But
Me
for
too.
you personally, you found that switching from being a night owl
I
to
was,
an early
yeah.
morning person has
I was
yielded
super
results.
productive. I was super productive at night. I was one of those people. Someone told me, Kunal, you should work in the morning. And I was like, no, it's a myth. It's a myth. I don't believe it. Do whatever you like, whatever floats your boat. I am very productive at night. It's calm and quiet. I get a lot of work done and stuff like that. I am twice as productive now as I was before.
That's a 100% increase in productivity. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just for doing the same amount of work, but doing it in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. I'm much more refreshed. Energy levels are high in the morning. I've had my breakfast. I've just woken up from a nice sleep. Energy levels are high. I'm like twice as more productive.
Yeah. And I will say, as somebody who used to stay up till like 4 a.m. working on stuff,
No.
it is very nice to finish your work for the day and be able to relax for the rest of the day instead of having to look forward to doing the work at the end of your day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for making time to come on the freeCodeCamp podcast. I've learned a tremendous amount from you, Kunal, and everybody tuning in. Until next week, happy coding.
Happy coding.